Yo, welcome back everybody. I hope you guys are doing well as always. I know what you're thinking. Oh my god, Chase doesn't have a hat on. You are correct. I'm tired of wearing hats on here. Every single video I gotta put a hat on and I don't like it. A couple things to get out of the way. Yes, I have a big forehead. I'm aware of it. 2, my hairline, it's disappearing slowly and there's nothing I can do about it. So anyways, with that out of the way, today we're gonna be making like a future type beat, similar to like mixtape Pluto vibes. As you can see, I got the lights set to purple to match the album cover. Yeah, we're just gonna get right into cooking up. So I'm definitely gonna go for more of the like OG kind of like trap, like South Side type of beat for this one. So y'all already know I'm about to load up this Des Wright plugin. And we're just gonna get like a pad that doesn't have a lot of high end, but also has like some cool motion to it. And we're gonna lay down the most basic trap pattern of all time. All right, so this preset I found called the Centered Pad. I think this one sounds pretty cool. I'm gonna open up Xenology and just kind of add like some low piano notes. This is a cool sound. I just found it in Coding Files 3. I think this is by Key Major and Keon. But what I did is I just copied that same MIDI and deleted the high note, because when I speed it up, I don't want it to sound like too kind of like, I don't want it to like alternate back and forth between the low note and the high note. So I just kind of got rid of that. I have it routed here and I'm just gonna render it to an audio file. And we're gonna take that, put it on stretch and cut it way down. And then I'm gonna take this sample and just like chop it. And then just kind of like cut these little end sections off just a tiny bit so it sounds more like resampled. So that's already sounding like Southside-ish. Now I'm gonna try to make some kind of like lead and maybe put some like Portal or like crystallizer or something on it to give it that sort of like grainy texture that you hear in a lot of these melodies. I'm gonna put some fragments on this. Yeah, this is like the exact effect I was looking for. It's just you want something to kind of introduce like a little bit of the high end. I'm just gonna add like a bass one shot, and I'm gonna go to my gems kit, me and Gateway, to the Obsidian one shot kit. Just gonna follow the root notes of the original MIDI. All right, I'm gonna see if I can find some kind of like flute lead or something, so I can kind of just have like a second section of this that has just a little bit more of an interesting like top line or whatever. So we're in arcade. I'm gonna go to, actually I could just probably search up like flute or something. All right, so I liked this first half of the flute little melody, and I'm just gonna honestly keep that. It just gives it a little something interesting to add into like a hook or whatever. So I think this melody's done. I'm gonna render everything out and then arrange it. All right, so I think that's a pretty cool arrangement. Honestly, if I have any tips for arranging, it would just be that like there's really no right way to do it, as long as, you know, each section you have is interesting. I try to make it so like no sections are the same. So if people like use this loop, they can just kind of cut out certain parts they want. They could loop it across the whole beat if they wanted to, or they could take certain sections that they want to use and whatnot. So I try to just make every section unique. I think the worst thing you can do for arranging loops is making them just kind of boring. It should always start off with something catchy, just because it sucks, but like whoever's listening to your loop is gonna judge it based on like the first 2 seconds. So if they don't hear something they like right away, they'll just skip it. So if you've watched a bunch of my other videos, you'll know one thing I like to do is render out the whole melody and then just kind of put some like post effects on it after it's all rendered together. I feel like this just kind of like glues the melody a little bit better. I'm able to kind of like shape it how I want to, or like add some, you know, distortion effects or like, you know, tape emulations, whatever to it as a whole, instead of like adding everything to an individual stem. So first thing, I'll just go through and kind of EQ out harsh sections and make it just a little bit more level sounding. So right away I can see there's a lot of lows and low mids, so I'm just kind of shaping that a little bit. gonna put a little bit of saturation on it. I like this plugin. It's called Rabbit Tape. It just adds like some nice grit. And usually I turn the settings pretty far down just because it adds a lot, but all right, so I'm gonna export this and I'll see you guys in a new FLP and we'll do the drums. Like I said at the beginning of the video, this is like that mixtape Pluto stuff, so I'm gonna try to do some like crazy like South Side hi-hat rolls and whatnot. All right, so I'm just gonna copy this over a bunch, and then at the beginning of the 3, I'm gonna change it up and do like a third step, like slower roll. think that's it for the drums that I want to do. Usually with these beats, like the drums are the whole entire beat's pretty simple, to be honest. So like the melody doesn't have that many layers, and the drums just have to hit hard. That's kind of like the only requirement. You don't have to have too many crazy sound. It's really just like the essentials. So you got like your snare, your hi-hat, 808, and then some like accent stuff like your open hat, maybe a couple extra snares. And that's really all you want for these. You don't want to like crowd it with a ton of different sounds. All right, that's gonna do it for this beat. Let me know what you guys think about it in the comments. Let me know what other types of videos I should do, as far as like what artists to cover, types of beats, whatever. If you're interested in any of the sounds I use constantly in these videos, all of my kits are up on my website. The link is in the description if you wanna go check those out. Yeah, don't forget to follow me on Instagram, like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.